The Marketeers, a video exclusive.
So, no, when I'm thinking about like the trends of this year, the thing is like where you have these external analysts are talking about agentic AI, how do you create a new channel that makes a strategic difference for your particular industry? I'm just trying to think of any kind of, I guess it is that agentic automation is what we used to think of like an email automation. I think the trend this year maybe in marketing is about trying to set up those systems, but I don't know anyone who's really winning at it. I know one person who had such an automated system, and I think it's just because they could do that for themselves. It's their own company, right? It's their own individual projects. And he's like, everything is automated. You'll get the notes from this meeting after this meeting, you'll get all of that. And even that though got to a point where I was like, this is a little too automated for me as the receiver. Because it feels,
because then you lose the human touch, right? Like
100%.
You feel like it's all technology mediated, less personal, which, you know, certainly for clients, that doesn't feel great if it feels like it's all programmatic.
I think you have to find the right mix in it. But do you think there's any other trends, or do you think it's been like a survival year?
I think it's been
something middle.
I think it's been a learning year. I think people are just trying to figure it all out. You know, on the agentic side, I don't know that people have actually gotten through any kind of agentic improvements at scale. I think they're testing and playing and figuring out what they can and can't do. And there's a little bit of a confusion between what is an automation and integration, where you're tying multiple systems together with, you know, Zapier or Make or whatever, versus true agentic, which means it's working as if, right? It's working as if it was you, or as if it had a role that oftentimes a human being would have. I think part of the challenge is with agentic AI, you have to allow systems to behave as if they're you. That often means giving them credentials as if they're you. And that's where it gets scary. Turning over your bank account logins or access to your customer database, things like that in an agentic environment, that can be scary. So I think people are being cautious, and they should be. I think they should be cautious while we figure out what the guardrails need to be before you let a machine do what you normally would do yourself.
I spent like 45 minutes, which some people say that's not a long time, but I spent like 45 minutes and an hour trying to set up a Zapier that was, what I wanted it to do is, you know, everyone's recording all of their meetings and they have their Fixer, Blue Dot, whatever you're using to record your meetings. On one hand, I think it's a little bit wasteful, because if you have 5 different bots coming in to record the same meeting, you're like, well, why doesn't there one? And these are all sitting on data centers, and at the same time, how many of those meeting notes are you actually using? What I wanted to do, because I work with multiple clients, and I'm working with one client who has multiple clients, is I wanted to set up a Zapier that like would take that meeting invite with the to-do list, and I just wanted to forward it to another email or whatever. And then that would auto sort, this is your to-do list for this client. I just wanted like auto to-do list for that client. And so I got to a certain point, and it was sort of happening. And just the experience of trying to set it up myself, I also think is such a good learning experience. And the other aspect is I'm just telling ChatGPT I go, this is what I want it to do. Tell me what to tell Zapier's AI, because Zapier now has its own AI to help you build it, because you used to need devs to do all of these things. Right. So that was an interesting learning experience. But I got through a lot of it. And then all of a sudden I was like, I don't want to give this much access. So I just deleted everything that I had done and changed. And so I did present an idea to somebody a few weeks ago. And I said, I wonder if I should be setting up an AI email account. And then that AI, you know, when I say AI, I'm just saying that's the title of the email account. And that email account is then, that's what gives access. And literally like, there's nothing in my Google Drive for that account, or there's only the one thing in it, you know, like really limiting the AI access or any of my automations or agentic, if I ever get there, just has kind of an empty connection point, if you will, that just has the very specific bits. And then the person's like, no, there's no reason to do that. And I was like, I think you're wrong. And he's like, no, it's only accessing the document that you want it to give it to. I go, now, like
No,
now it is, but
right.
we've done all the studies for the privacy clauses. But I think that that's the thing too, that's slowing down some of it, is how much access do you give? Or you've seen the memes that are like, how much confidential. Remember like 15 years ago, the biggest issue was shadow IT.
Yes.
Like bring your own device was like the
Right,
biggest issue
right,
in
right.
like the thing in that. And now you're like, just give your stuff.
I know. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. I mean, I've definitely played with agentic pieces and I've given it for a period of time a certain level of access just so I could see what I could and couldn't do. But then I quickly revoked it back again because it made me feel uncomfortable. And so I'm like, okay, well, I don't want this doing something while I'm sleeping. Like, I just need to turn it back off again. And so almost everything that I have set up, I've undone.
But what part of that is uncomfortable?
Lack of transparency and notification. I don't know or trust exactly what's happening
Okay.
when I'm not sitting there watching it happen.
Okay, that's it.
And then when
Okay.
I'm sitting there and watching it happen, then I don't get the efficiency gains, right? Because now I'm sitting there watching it happen instead of doing it. And it's, it's just a whole nother thing. But, like with all new technology, I get in there and I play. I play because I want to try and figure it out, right? I was minting NFTs, right? I was just doing like,
No, you're super early adopter.
yeah, like,
I think you're way more hands-on than
yeah,
99%.
And I do that because I need to be hands-on and try it in order to understand it so that I can decide to what degree I want to leverage it. And, then we go from there. So I don't know. I'm still not terribly comfortable with agentic AI around anything that's important, whether that's important because of business or important because of finance. I'm much more comfortable with things that are just fun or creative and let loose, but I'm still not ready because I don't think the right controls are in place. I'm still not ready to just turn over things on my behalf to AI to run autonomously without me knowing what's happening.
But I think that's what I'm saying with like, what are the safeguards? That's why I was like, what if you have it in a capsule that's just connected to one drive that has the 3 files that you've decided what's in it?
Yeah, I mean, I would exactly. So I would do that in experimentation, but the whole efficiency gains that you're trying to get are things that you can apply to your actual voluminous work, right? The reason why you want agentic stuff is because you've got a lot to do, not something that's necessarily simple and small. And so I like that for experimentation. I think what's missing is the ramp to scale. Like, how do you figure out how to take these smaller projects where it's maybe even not even worth the efficiency gain to set up the agentic part to it? So you're doing that to learn. But now that you've learned that, where do you actually feel comfortable applying it into a broader scope where it really makes an impact, either an efficiency impact or a cost impact or a service impact that makes it worth it?
I mean, that's another question, right? Because the setting up time for most of these things is it's a long time. It's
a heavy lift.
Can take a few weeks depending on what your system is and how you're creating these virtuous content loops and that aspect. I know there's a lot of thought too with the generative. It's like, we're all racing to the middle, like, which I believe too, right? You look at LinkedIn and we know I can know at a glance if it's AI. I also don't believe that people really read posts. Like, it has to be really astounding. I think you're giving a like if it's somebody in your network or not. And I think there's a lot more lurkers out there than we realize, and there's value in the lurkers. But yeah, as I say that, I was like, okay, the time I spent trying to set up that to-do list, really, if it just came back and just copy and paste it into the, is that you really made me rethink that way of like that time aspect of it. I think it's there's I read an interview with Paris Hilton's husband. His name's Room something, and he is a VC guy, and it's kind of like a day in the life. And it ends with right before bed, he sets off an AI agent to do research while he's sleeping.
I like that. That's cool.
Is that, do you think that, would you trust that kind of thing if you're talking about your gains and trust and so forth? It's like, so I wake up and then there's some sort of like deep knowledge search that's happened.
I mean, if he's researching public information or, you know, things that aren't proprietary to him, like his own data set, I don't know. I'm kind of curious what he's actually using it for, to research what.
I think the example was some sort of like global macroeconomics.
Yeah, I think that's a great use of agentic AI. That to me is a perfect use of it, because it's information that it's gathering and it's not exploiting your own data, your own information. It's using publicly available information and doing something with it. So that to me, that's a perfect example.